This is Dr. Annie coming to you from Couch Conversations, Psychotherapy and Counseling. In this part of our Managing Anxiety series, we are going to be focusing on behaviors, the common behaviors that come up for individuals who are experiencing anxiety, and in turn, what are some other behaviors that could possibly be more effective, more adaptive, and ultimately more helpful in managing anxiety. So it may be a little counterintuitive, but we want to talk about behaviors by first talking about worry. And we believe that worry is actually a behavior that people with anxiety engage in. Now, while you might be having thoughts, when you're worrying about something, and those thoughts are often unhelpful, ultimately people are engaging in the behavior of worry, and there's typically a function behind that. So sometimes people think, well, if I sit down and worry about something for, 2 hours a day, 5 days out of the week, then I will somehow have control over the outcome of the situation that I'm feeling anxious about. So worry is, it could be a thought, but we also argue that it could be a behavior that people are engaging in. And so a lot of the other behaviors that come up with people with anxiety is to serve the function of the worry that's happening. So one of the things that people often do is they avoid when they're experiencing anxiety. And avoidance is anxiety's best friend, because when you decide, I'm not going to go to that social event because it creates a lot of anxiety for me, or when you decide, I'm not going to switch my department at work because that would create a lot of anxiety, there are a lot of unknowns in that situation, then you are essentially reinforcing that anxiety, and you're actually bypassing it. You're saying, this situation creates a lot of anxiety for me, so let me bypass it by not engaging in that situation. Unfortunately, this doesn't take away the problem that you're having, it just helps you bypass it temporarily. The same is true for procrastination. That's also an unhelpful behavior with individuals with anxiety. So procrastination is saying, I am going to complete this task tomorrow. The second you make that decision, there's an instant relief in anxiety. You don't need to deal with it in that moment. You can deal with it later. And so it is a very reinforcing process to both avoid and also to procrastinate, because again, you're bypassing those uncomfortable feelings that come up with anxiety, and you're telling yourself, I'm not going to deal with this right now, and as a result, I'm not going to feel the discomfort that comes up when I'm feeling anxious. So it's important to think about how those behaviors are playing a role in your life. Another unhelpful behavior that we find with individuals with anxiety is they look for very selective information in their environment. So one example of that is going to, a friend or a trusted person and asking them, can you review this letter or this email that I wrote, or, so-and-so had a conversation with me and they said this, how would you react to that? Right? They're seeking reassurance from other people. They want to make sure that other people are sort of validating their experience. And so you're getting very selective information in that way. Another way that people get selective information when they're anxious is, unfortunately, they only focus on the negative things and the things that they believe are reinforcing their worry, instead of focusing on maybe the more realistic things or potentially the more positive things in their environment. So these are all kind of common examples of how people with anxiety will start to behave in ways, whether it be worry, avoidance, procrastination, or being selective about the information that they're looking at from their environment. And unfortunately, again, this isn't really solving any of their problems. In fact, it's probably perpetuating the worry and reinforcing the avoidance behaviors. So if you find yourself in this cycle, it might be a good time to maybe try to find some therapy or somebody to work with who can take a look at these behaviors with you and try to identify what are some other things you could be doing that are going to be more adaptive for you and that are going to help you, in becoming the best version of yourself and getting to the goals that you have for yourself. One of the best ways that you're going to overcome the anxiety and the worry behaviors and any other behaviors you're doing as a result of anxiety is by facing those fears. And it is by working through them and doing those things that make you uncomfortable, going to those job interviews or going to that social event that you're avoiding or having that important conversation with somebody. Those are going to be the ways that you take baby steps towards overcoming the avoidance and the fear and the anxiety that comes from thinking about those situations. Now, we realize that process could be really difficult, and so it's always better to have somebody that can help guide you in that process and give you the helpful tools and strategies you need. And so as a result of that, you're more than welcome to contact us here at Couch Conversations, and our therapist can definitely describe to you how to take a look at these behaviors and how to find ways that are going to be more helpful for you if you are experiencing anxiety. Thank you so much for listening in to this video, and if you'd like more information about the other videos in our Managing Anxiety series, please feel free to check out those videos as well. And thanks again.